Hi friends, in this video we are going to make 48 sentences using a single verb. We will take a verb, we will make one sentence, and out of that sentence we are going to make 48 sentences. Why should we make 48 sentences? We have to practice in different tenses. The simple present, the simple past, the simple future, present continuous, past continuous, future continuous, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, then present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, and future perfect continuous. In all we have 12 tenses, and in each tense we have 4 sentences. 4 into 12 is 48 sentences. Why should we practice 48 sentences? So that it will be easy for us to ask questions, and at the same time, if someone asks us the same question, we will be in a position to answer it more freely with confidence. I want you to please repeat after me and practice as many times as possible. The more you are going to practice, the more you are going to learn. The other benefit is you are going to build your vocabulary. You will be knowing how to form sentences, and you are also going to gain a lot of confidence. Let me start with the verb leave, L-E-A-V-E. The sentence is: he leaves his kids. He doesn't leave his kids. Does he leave his kids? Doesn't he leave his kids? He left his kids. He didn't leave his kids. Did he leave his kids? Didn't he leave his kids? He will leave his kids. He won't leave his kids. Will he leave his kids? Won't he leave his kids? He is leaving his kids. He isn't leaving his kids. Is he leaving his kids? Isn't he leaving his kids? He was leaving his kids. He wasn't leaving his kids. Was he leaving his kids? Wasn't he leaving his kids? He will be leaving his kids. He won't be leaving his kids. Will he be leaving his kids? Won't he be leaving his kids? He has left his kids. He hasn't left his kids. Has he left his kids? Hasn't he left his kids? He had left his kids. He hadn't left his kids. Had he left his kids? Hadn't he left his kids? He will have left his kids. He won't have left his kids. Will he have left his kids? Won't he have left his kids? He has been leaving his kids. He hasn't been leaving his kids. Has he been leaving his kids? Hasn't he been leaving his kids? He had been leaving his kids. He hadn't been leaving his kids. Had he been leaving his kids? Hadn't he been leaving his kids? He will have been leaving his kids. He won't have been leaving his kids. Will he have been leaving his kids? Won't he have been leaving his kids? So we have made the first 48 sentences. Now let us go to the second 48 sentences. Now let us take the next verb. The next verb is let, L-E-T. Okay, now let's make a sentence. She lets children. She doesn't let children. Does she let children? Doesn't she let children? She let children. She doesn't let children. Does she let children? Doesn't she let children? She let children. She didn't let children. Did she let children? Didn't she let children? She will let children. She won't let children. Will she let children? Won't she let children? She is letting children. She isn't letting children. Is she letting children? Isn't she letting children? She was letting children. She wasn't letting children. Was she letting children? Wasn't she letting children? She will be letting children. She won't be letting children. Will she be letting children? Won't she be letting children? She has let children. She hasn't let children. Has she let children? Hasn't she let children? She had let children. She hadn't let children. Had she let children? Hadn't she let children? She will have let children. She won't have let children. Will she have let children? Won't she have let children? She has been letting children. She hasn't been letting children. Has she been letting children? Hasn't she been letting children? She had been letting children. She hadn't been letting children. Had she been letting children? Hadn't she been letting children? She will have been letting children. She won't have been letting children. Will she have been letting children? Won't she have been letting children? Let's go to the next one. The next verb is lose. Let's make a sentence. We lose money on bets. Let's make 48 sentences out of that sentence. We lose money on bets. We don't lose money on bets. Do you lose money on bets? Don't you lose money on bets? We lost money on bets. We didn't lose money on bets. Did you lose money on bets? Didn't you lose money on bets? We will lose money on bets. We won't lose money on bets. Will you lose money on bets? Won't you lose money on bets? We are losing money on bets. We aren't losing money on bets. Are you losing money on bets? Aren't you losing money on bets? We were losing money on bets. We weren't losing money on bets. Were you losing money on bets? Weren't you losing money on bets? We will be losing money on bets. We won't be losing money on bets. Will you be losing money on bets? Won't you be losing money on bets? We have lost money on bets. We haven't lost money on bets. Have you lost money on bets? Haven't you lost money on bets? We had lost money on bets. We hadn't lost money on bets. Had you lost money on bets? Hadn't you lost money on bets? We will have lost money on bets. We won't have lost money on bets. Will you have lost money on bets? Won't you have lost money on bets? We have been losing money on bets. We haven't been losing money on bets. Have you been losing money on bets? Haven't you been losing money on bets? We had been losing money on bets. We hadn't been losing money on bets. Had you been losing money on bets? Hadn't you been losing money on bets? We will have been losing money on bets. We won't have been losing money on bets. Will you have been losing money on bets? Won't you have been losing money on bets? Let's go to the next one. The next one is light, L-I-G-H-T. The sentence is Gulnaz lights lives. 48 sentences. Gulnaz lights lives. Gulnaz doesn't light lives. Does Gulnaz light lives? Doesn't Gulnaz light lives? Gulnaz lit lives. Gulnaz didn't light lives. Did Gulnaz light lives? Did Gulnaz light lives? Gulnaz will light lives. Gulnaz won't light lives. Will Gulnaz light lives? Won't Gulnaz light lives? Gulnaz is lighting lives. Gulnaz isn't lighting lives. Is Gulnaz lighting lives? Isn't Gulnaz lighting lives? Gulnaz was lighting lives. Gulnaz wasn't lighting lives. Was Gulnaz lighting lives? Wasn't Gulnaz lighting lives? Gulnaz will be lighting lives. Gulnaz won't be lighting lives. Will Gulnaz be lighting lives? Won't Gulnaz be lighting lives? Gulnaz has lit lives. Gulnaz hasn't lit lives. Has Gulnaz lit lives? Hasn't Gulnaz lit lives? Gulnaz had lit lives. Gulnaz hadn't lit lives. Had Gulnaz lit lives? Hadn't Gulnaz lit lives? Gulnaz will have lit lives. Gulnaz won't have lit lives. Will Gulnaz have lit lives? Won't Gulnaz have lit lives? Gulnaz has been lighting lives. Gulnaz hasn't been lighting lives. Has Gulnaz been lighting lives? Hasn't Gulnaz been lighting lives? Gulnaz had been lighting lives. Gulnaz hadn't been lighting lives. Had Gulnaz been lighting lives? Hadn't Gulnaz been lighting lives? Gulnaz will have been lighting lives. Gulnaz won't have been lighting lives. Will Gulnaz have been lighting lives? Won't Gulnaz have been lighting lives? Let's go to the next verb. The next verb is lie, L-I-E. Let's make a sentence out of it. I lie to no one. I don't lie to no one. Do you lie to no one? Don't you lie to no one? I lied to no one. I didn't lie to no one. Did you lie to no one? Didn't you lie to no one? I will lie to no one. I won't lie to no one. Will you lie to no one? Won't you lie to no one? I am lying to no one. I amn't lying to no one. Are you lying to no one? Aren't you lying to no one? I was lying to no one. I wasn't lying to no one. Were you lying to no one? Weren't you lying to no one? I will be lying to no one. I won't be lying to no one. Will you be lying to no one? Won't you be lying to no one? I have lied to no one. I haven't lied to no one. Have you lied to no one? Haven't you lied to no one? I had lied to no one. I hadn't lied to no one. Had you lied to no one? Hadn't you lied to no one? I will have lied to no one. I won't have lied to no one. Will you have lied to no one? Won't you have lied to no one? I have been lying to no one. I haven't been lying to no one. Have you been lying to no one? Haven't you been lying to no one? I had been lying to no one. I hadn't been lying to no one. Had you been lying to no one? Hadn't you been lying to no one? I will have been lying to no one. I won't have been lying to no one. Will you have been lying to no one? Won't you have been lying to no one? Friends, keep practicing these sentences again and again and get a lot of confidence. Friends, you may subscribe to my channel in YouTube. To subscribe, please press here. Follow me on Twitter by clicking here. Want to follow me on Facebook? Click here to like my page.